Welcome back to the Honolulu Blues Show. As always, hosted by myself, Adam Stark, with my boys, Nick and Julius. We got a good one, a jam-packed one for you guys today. We're going to be recapping the final episode of Hard Knocks, talking our favorite moments, and then we'll, of course, be covering Week 1 Eagles versus Lions, where the Lions are riding an ultimate high, a high that, it hasn't something we haven't seen in quite a while. What I'm getting at is the Lions home opener first the Eagles is sold out. This is the first time since 2019 that a game has standing room only, and the first time the Lions have offered standing room tickets in a non-Thanksgiving game since 2017. So, boys are back, baby. Are the boys back or not?
Boys are back. The boys are buzzing, baby. Woo!
Yes, sir. Nick, you threw out that little tweet I saw. It was like something like, "How sweet can it be?" And it was like the Kool-Aid there. And it was just like, oh, yes.
I was actually Julius's friend, too, from Detroit Sports Nation. I just saw it on Facebook and was like, oh, I'll screenshot that. That looks pretty nice. Next thing you know, yeah, that was pretty nice.
Listen, guys, this is the sweetest the Kool-Aid has ever swam, in my opinion,
The Kool-Aid is swimming sweetly today, baby.
Hey, it's flowing like a strong river current through Lions fans' veins right now.
I am literally whitewater rapid rafting on the Kool-Aid right now, bro. Injecting it. I'm all in. It's all gonna. I hope it doesn't deflate. You know what I mean? Like week 1, dude. If you need,
we're gonna find out quick. We're gonna find out quick.
Yeah,
we are indeed. But, first things we're going to find out, we found out some bad news this week. This was real unexpected. Big V thrown on IR. No one expected this or saw any type of hints of this, happening. I guess he was, was it a back injury or I forget what it was.
I didn't even catch the injury. I just saw he was out like 8
I saw
weeks.
one minor article, and I think it was Pro Football. So, I don't know. Anyways, a small article, and it happened during that last Steelers game. So, Julius, we were right there of escaping the preseason with no injuries, and then Big V just had to ruin it for us. So, hopefully, it's just these first, 4 games he misses, he gets all healed up, back to normal, and good to go. But unfortunately, we're having more problems, boys. We had Ragnow was limited in practice today with hamstring injuries. And then Tommy Kramer, he had a back injury as well, and he was missing practice too. So, Julius, has the red flag gone up for our offensive line kind of like it did last year, or are we still kind of keeping things under control?
I'm very optimistic still about the health of not only the roster, but the offensive line. Last year, in comparison, Taylor Decker was already, out of the fold. We lost Ragnow. Was that week 1 or week 2?
That was quick. I think it was week 1, honestly.
It was quick. He was gone quick. And, it was just a lot of shuffling around. Had Panay on both sides of the line. It was a total mess. The reserve components that we have now wasn't as strong with Evan Brown, Tommy Kramer. They started to show things, but it just wasn't as solidified as it is now. So I'm not really worried about it. Hal Vaitai, out of all 5 starting linemen, that's the one you want to lose for a little bit, if we're all being honest here. I'd rather not lose Jonah or Frank or Taylor or Panay over Hal. And I feel like he's more easily replaceable. Now, the reports about Sewell playing guard, it kind of piqued my I don't know, because Panay Sewell is an offensive tackle. You know what I'm saying? That's where he does his best work, not at right guard or left guard. So I'm cool with Kramer, the injury. Okay, but we have Evan Brown, we can kick in there. I'd rather have Ragnow at guard, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not really worried. We still got 4 starters on the table.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation we got. It's like a little bit of a musical offensive lineman, so to speak. So for me, I don't know. I agree with you, Julius. Putting Sewell, right guard, left guard, messing with more, positions than what he already switched over to right tackle. I don't like that. I like keeping it as simple as can be. I think, hopefully Tommy Kramer will be good to go week 1. But if not, then, maybe Evan Brown shifts into guard. I would rather see Evan Brown play guard than Ragnow. Nick, what are you thoughts on this offensive line dilemma?
No thoughts on it. The offensive line is just fine. Big V is literally the only guy of the four that I'm okay with losing. And like I know Julius was a big fan of him after last year, but I still am not a big fan of Big V. And in fact, I like Logan Stenberg more, who doesn't even get the start right. It's Tommy Kramer. But if Kramer does get injured, Logan Stenberg is projected to be that spot. No, I don't know why. Like, I don't mind practicing Sewell at guard. Like, that guy should be able to play every position. He should even take a couple snaps. That's not going to bother me. I do not think we move to Ragnow. He is the quarterback of our offensive line. Yeah. Sewell is he's the the best maybe on the offensive line, but Ragnow's the quarterback. You can't move him. I do not want any mishaps. I want him and Jared Goff connected hand to ass. But but Logan Stenberg is a very good player, and I'm telling you, I've been liking him for a while. Injuries set him back. He might have a chance. And I like Tommy Kramer. If his injury doesn't end up keeping him out of week 1, I like both of these guys to fill that guard position. If not just as good as Big V, if not better. Okay, like Big V is not that good, and he started to get chemistry, and that was great. And we started to see improvement, and we saw a lot of good plays from Big V, but I think that's about the ceiling. I want someone who could be even better than him, and the only way for us to find out is to put them in the fire, which is Tommy Kramer, which is Logan Stenberg. Keep Brown on as the sixth man. You need a sixth man. Every NBA team knows you need a sixth man. So in offensive line, you need a rotational guy who will be able to come in and fill in for Tommy Kramer in a drive, or fill in for, I don't know, Jonah Jackson, or if there's an injury or just whatever. We need a sixth man. Let him be that. Fill that position with Kramer or Stenberg. It is not a big deal. Our O-line is going to be just fine. It needs to be just fine because we're screwed without it.
Yeah, especially facing a tough, defensive team in the Eagles this week with, big boy Jordan Davis. And yeah, I do not want to throw Evan Brown against Jordan Davis, week 1. I want Frank Ragnow to handle that beast himself and, take on that challenge. So we'll get a little more into that. A few other news and noteworthy things to talk about. The Lions, we hired, this was interesting, Sean Dion Hamilton, former Detroit Lion, literally just former. We literally cut him probably like a month or so ago. And now he's one of our assistant defensive coaches. So just keep on adding to that resume of former players that are now coaches. So
super interesting. I love that.
It is, we haven't seen I feel like any coaches take this hard of an approach of just, former players that have turned coaches. So we're going to see if it works. And if it does, then Dan Campbell, you're a genius.
Who knows? He might get a little coaching tree / train of former players going as part of but he has to be successful for the Lions would need a little success for Aaron Glenn and the rest of the leader of the assistants to do Staley to get a shot. And then you start to see more guys come up like Dion Hamilton.
I got just a quick question on our coaching staff. Do we think that Ben Johnson will be quick on the hot seat because he is maybe the only coach on our team not to play in the NFL? Do you think there's bad blood or something?
It depends on him and Campbell relationship. If they real buddy, like I hope they are, and they have a cohesion on what they want, for the team offensively, I feel good. But if Campbell is side guessing Ben Johnson and wanting to call plays himself, I'll be a little more worried.
Doesn't it seem like we would have saw a little buddy connection between them during Hard Knocks, 5 episodes, and we didn't see one Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell conversation? Not one.
Good point. Yeah.
It's a little odd to me. I don't know. And Ben Johnson, again, the only coach on our staff that didn't play in the NFL. Played in high school, played in college in North Carolina, but no NFL. I just bring it up. I wonder if he's going to be on the hot seat a little bit quicker than maybe he should be. I don't know. Keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I mean, you make some good points there. You do. Ben Johnson, he was only in that one episode 4 Hard Knocks, and he had 3 little probably solid scenes. So yeah, it could get interesting if, the offense starts to struggle quick. And, obviously if Ben Johnson is, making the play calls. Final things to wrap up. The Lions announced their captains. We had Jared Goff, Frank Ragnow, Michael Brockers, Alex Anzalone, Tracy Walker, and Josh Wood. So out of any of these guys, Nick, Julius, any surprises or any guys you think should have been a captain?
Josh Woods is a surprise to me. Must be special teams.
I think he is the special teams guy. Yeah.
Other than that, not really. Like I'm okay with him. Oh, captain, my captain. I'm down with him.
I like it.
I mean, I wasn't really surprised either. However, I was a little bit sidestruck to not see Jamal Williams' name on there because he kind of took that passionate, pushing role in training camp. We all saw it on Hard Knocks, and he wasn't named a captain. I thought that he might, out of the respect from his teammates, but obviously he has a very reduced role, as a backup running back. So I understand.
Yeah, Jamal would. I like that. Jamal,
That's good take.
I think he can be, a captain on, a bunch of other teams too, and might even be one eventually. But yeah, I think it was just kind of like the role he was in. Just it's hard to, put a backup running back, I guess, as your captain, even though Jamal is a hell of a captain. But last episode of Hard Knocks, boys. All in all, what do you guys, Nick, your final take from all episodes? Give me your recap, your closing ceremony, I guess.
For the whole series?
Oh, sure.
Thank you, Hard Knocks. I don't care how much I may have criticized it at points at times, and I could criticize the last episode with the whole David Blau and Khalil Pimpleton, and I don't need to see any bit of the Giants and the Vikings at all. Don't show me that. I don't even care about 2-minute segment. I do not care about the Vikings. I do not care about David Blau or Khalil Pimpleton. They are off the Lions. Hard Knocks. Stick with the Lions. Regardless, this may be a once-in-a-lifetime situation. We may not ever see the Lions on Hard Knocks again, or so once again in our lifetime, twice. It's like one of those rare comets, like Halley's Comet that comes around once every 20, 30 years or whatever it is. It's kind of what we just witnessed, right? For 5 weeks, we got to witness this very rare comet passing by. We got to see inside Deuce Staley and Aaron Glenn's relationship. I would have never known. It's amazing to see that. We saw a lot about Dan Campbell and Jamal Williams' passion. We knew that. We got to see a lot of the inside, not a lot, but we got to see a few inside game adjustments. It was just amazing to be able to see. Obviously, we didn't get everyone that we wanted, right? We would have all loved to see all 90 players that were on our roster all get their own segment. I would have loved to see inside Dan Campbell's home. We didn't get to see inside anyone's home, I'm pretty sure. I think we saw Aiden Hutchinson at his house in his backyard, and that was about it. I didn't really love that. But again, ultimately, throughout all the criticism that I have, it was so exciting to be able to turn that on and watch the Detroit Lions on Hard Knocks every Tuesday night. I'm elated. I'm super sad that it's over, but also super excited that it's over because that means it's time for the freaking real thing. And let's get to football. But thanks again, Hard Knocks. What a great gave us 5 weeks of talking when we normally are just freaking scrumbling about who's the 75th guy on the roster who might get caught on the bubble. No, we had shit to talk about for 5 straight weeks. It was outstanding. I hope the viewers enjoyed it. I hope the viewers enjoyed us talking about it. I hope we get it again in like 6. Actually, no, I hope we never get it again. I hope we never get it again because we're never out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree, Nick. You summed it up pretty well. All in all, Hard Knocks, they put Detroit kind of on the map, so to speak. They, allowed a lot of people, not just to peek at the Lions, but, Motown and, the culture of Detroit and some, the jazz and the history behind it that, some of the younger kids that, are watching Hard Knocks didn't know about. So I'm sure the Lions gained a lot of fans just off of, Dan Campbell, Detroit, this grit team, this, underdog story. So it was so awesome. And the fact that we did have it for 5 weeks, it made these like 5 weeks that should go by so slow where you're just like tick, 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 for the week 1 of the NFL season. You're waiting so bad for it to come. And my golly, it feels like it went by so fast just because I was so excited for these, episodes each week. And shout out to Hard Knocks for making that happen. So, Julius, give me a little rundown of your, final thoughts of Hard Knocks.
I mean, I loved it. I loved every bit of it. I'm sure most Lions fans would agree with me on this, but you made a great point, Nick. What will we otherwise be doing? And to be honest, we got lucky because if they would have gave us this show during the Patricia Quinn era, it wouldn't have been that good. It would not have.
People would have hated the Lions. People would have been
terrible.
Like,
it would have been
get off.
They would have been trying to fire Patricia for every little thing. The fans would have been calling. It would have been a horrible experience, especially year 2 and year 3 when stuff started to go dark. We'd have been criticizing every little detail of the show, but with Campbell and the hope and the culture he's trying to build and the foundation, I mean, it was just a thrill, and it got me through the last bit of the longest offseason of my adult life. And the last bit of that show at the end, last night, I was flabbergasted. That was probably my most flabbergasted point of the show. And it's crazy because I was flabbergasted a few times, including like Aiden Hutchinson, Billie Jean, Craig Reynolds' story, Jamal Williams' speech, all types of moments. But I did not expect Dan Campbell to pause for a minute and a half and then say the words he said. I had to rewind it like 3 times before I went to bed. And I've had a lot of those rewind moments on this show. So I loved it. I'm happy it happened, and I'm ready for week 1.
Yeah, 100%. That was the longest pause in the world. And we'll get into that once we, get towards the end of this episode. So we'll recap it real quick. But, just to dive right into it, it gets, they make it, the first intro is this sad little intro where, guys are getting cut. It's going to be not, a pleasant episode, but you just got to deal with it. And then one of the opening scenes was poor Dan Skipper. He's fighting back tears. He's just like, you could see it in his eyes where he wanted this so bad. And he asked the question, what could I have done more? And you're like, oh, these are just some of these cuts were so, gut wrenching. So Nick, I'll throw this question to you. Which player was, the one that was like, oh man, this sucks so much. I hate seeing this guy get cut.
Who is our peak performer week in and week out? Freaking Tom Kennedy. And they're like, you did everything. And he's like, it all just comes down to size. And I'm like, yo, Wes Welker was pretty good and very similar sized. All right. Austin Collie was a little bit bigger, but pretty good. Pop's already coming in with the predictions. I like where his mind's at. Tom Kennedy. He was the preseason MVP. He couldn't have done any more than he couldn't have done any more. Legitimately couldn't have done, except for maybe catch one more touchdown in Pittsburgh when he had it and dropped it. But dude, he deserves to start somewhere. He's so good. Yeah,
I'm right there with you. And oh my gosh, like that one stuck out to me so much.
He was mean mugging.
He was salty, man. He was like, damn it, I kind of thought I made it. Because I guarantee you, years prior, he expected, get that cut. But this year, this was a little bit different, especially with the wide receiver room having maybe an open spot. And it was weird because Dan Campbell was like, he said something, I forget what it was. I thought I wrote it down, but I guess I didn't. It was something like, you did everything that you could have done to make this team, but you didn't. And it was like, he didn't say the but you didn't part. And it was very cryptic in a way where it was like, if Tom Kennedy didn't know he was getting cut before this could be taken as you did everything you could and you made it. Nice job. But it was weird how he came off and said it. So yeah, I agree with you. Tom Kennedy that was a tough one. I think for me though, Khalil Pimpleton, just because of how a happy, upbeat, positive guy this dude was, they could have said, like, you're the worst football player ever. Of course, you're never going to make this team. And he still would have had a smile on his face and thanked Coach Campbell and Brad Holmes and been on his way. But it was sad to see him go. Wish we would have gave him a practice squad spot, but at least he's, got home with the Giants. And yeah, Nick, that was really stupid how they gave the Giants even 10 seconds of time. When they posted that, I was like, wait, Khalil Pimpleton, first of all, we already knew he was being released. So when this was being edited, he wasn't even part of the Detroit Lions. Now you're showing Giants training camp and, Brian Daboll, Giants head coach. It's like, we don't care. And I get, other football fans are watching, but this is for us Lions fans. We don't care. So for me, short things, Pimpleton was the most heartbreaking. Julius, what about you?
I mean, I didn't. It was really hard for me to kind of watch like the Skipper one and the Kennedy one and stuff because you can kind of not relate, but empathize because these are guys that has never been cut from anything in their lives. They have huge money on the line, future livelihoods, current livelihoods. So you understand how gut wrenching it is, to these guys to be cut. It's a horrible feeling, and it is on Hard Knocks live for the world. I'm sure the ones that were featured were cool with it being shown that moment, but it's a very highly emotional moment. Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes don't. That's the worst part of their job, other than trying to win and losing, is cutting players. Breaking these relationships off. So, it was all gut wrenching for me, to be honest. I hate to watch it. I hate to hear about it. I hate to watch it.
And we use the word cut to make it sound nice.
Yeah.
Julia said it so right. Like, these are their livelihoods. They were fired. We can use that word. They were They were fired. We watched guys get fired from their job and got viewing pleasure out of it. It's kind of messed up.
Could you imagine if they had like Hard Knocks on like Walmart workers?
For Applebee's?
Hard Knocks of like just regular.
You did everything to keep your job. You didn't.
We need to start a plot on that.
Exactly. I remembered what Dan Campbell said to Tom Getty. He goes, this sucks, man, because you earned it. And he said it with such a passionate, like, you earned it, making like everyone seem like, wait, did he actually make the team? Did he? Right. And he ended up not making it. So tough one, but
business.
Yeah, exactly. It's a business. And hey, at least, pretty much every single one of them that got cut was super, outstanding. Thank you for, I respect you, coach. I respect you, Brad Holmes, blah, blah, blah. It was really cool to see all the guys show, respect back. And granted, obviously you're not going to throw a hissy fit and, make a big deal. But it is nice to see that, there wasn't any type of players like shaking their head, not giving, Dan Campbell or Brad Holmes their, flowers for, changing the culture for what, Detroit's gone through. So it's nice to see that part.
Real quick, with the exception of David Blau, who wasn't featured, but they did talk about him being cut, and they showed Campbell talking about it on the phone. I don't recall who he's talking to exactly, but he was saying how Blau didn't take it very well, and it was a bit shook up, and Minnesota got to him, and he felt like it was a dead end in Detroit, as far as his career. So that's why he left. So that was a little different.
Yeah. I think, to clarify that, Julius, I'm sorry, but I believe what he said was that he hopes that Blau, or he thinks that Blau thought that it was a dead end, inferring that it wasn't a dead end, that they had planned on bringing him back to the practice squad, but he didn't make it. But that was an interesting, it was like dark, just Dan Campbell on the phone, pissed off, talking about how Blau didn't like it. And then he went, that was a pretty, like, I don't know, that was like I don't know, I can't think of the word, cryptic almost, but Adam, you already said that, and that's why it's coming up to me, but it was an interesting little just end of the entire show, or almost end of the show.
I'm almost positive Dan Campbell thought for sure Blau's going to come back.
No one's going to do it. Guaranteed it.
And that was why he probably was like, we can cut him. He'll be back on our practice squad.
Yeah.
And then when he's on the phone and he's like, yeah, the Vikings grabbed him. This sucks, man. And you could hear it in his voice where he was like, hey, I might have messed up on this one.
He did say he messed up. He said we messed up or something like that. It's something where I almost was like, Hard Knocks, yo, don't show that, dude. Come on, hey, calm down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But one man that, was possibly, never know, might not make the team 5 weeks ago, turning into a potential starter. That's our boy Rodrigo, the Cowboy. He is, didn't realize he had a little cowboy in himself. That was a cool little scene where he, got to go pick out his getup. And boy, he better wear that week 1 something, cowboy. I want to see him like come in on a full out, Bronco stallion, maybe even riding a lion, something cool like that. But Rodrigo is the type of badass that can handle this type of cowboy swagger, and I want to see him pull it off.
Rodrigo sells 2 jerseys if there's no Hard Knocks. Due to Hard Knocks, Rodrigo has the number 2 most sold jerseys for the Lions.
Thank you, HBO.
That is all HBO. We would not know Rodrigo.
Did you see?
Anyway,
did you see Rod Wood's face when he said that? He was like, he's number 2 in jersey sales. Like, how crazy is that? And
he's like, we created a monster.
Hard Knocks, Malcolm Rodriguez would be Derek Barnes last preseason. Remember,
we would all be talking about him like that for sure.
We were hype on here. Derek Barnes was like late round pick. This dude is popping in camp. He's popping in the preseason, making plays. You could see he's explosive. We have no other linebackers, but it wasn't no number 2 jerseys sold overall. Maybe not even top 10.
I don't even think he's sold 55 jerseys, and that's his number. You know what I mean?
Maybe his family did bought about 20, 30 of them, but that's about it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Him and Chase Lucas after yesterday's episode,
cool they got going.
Chase Lucas is going to be sell a lot.
Little side tangent on him. He gives me some big Jerry Jacobs vibes in which they just have so much confidence in themselves where the confidence will take over. And Chase Lucas, he's a guy that, I think was just started at the bottom and now he's here and he's just going to work until he gets that opportunity. And he's just had the taste with the 53-man roster. So hopefully Chase Lucas can, do a Jerry Jacobs-esque season and come out of nowhere.
Chase Lucas reminds me of like my friend's little brother that won't leave us alone.
That's great. That's
a great comparison, Nick.
Because like he's right on, I think I'm going to be great, coach.
Yeah.
And he like takes 2 steps, coach. I think I'm going to be great. And he just follows him right out the door. Coach, I think I'm going to be great. Just all that, which is great.
Love that.
Be right in Aubrey Pleasant's ear every day. I'm going to be great, coach. Just give me the shot. What do I got to do? You know what I mean? He's like, can I make it in this league? And he's like, yeah, you can. You just got to work. It's just that little brother that never goes away and ends up being just a freaking star.
The Lions need him and Malcolm. They need some late round guys to pop. So, hey, I think Chase Lucas is a great candidate. That kid-like personality he has, that love for the game that they talked about on the show, actually. I don't know, man. He could be a steal. I'm worried about Rodriguez being overhyped because of Hard Knocks. Same way Derek Barnes was kind of overhyped, but in a way bigger way. So
that reminds me, did we look at the first depth chart that got released? Is Rodrigo or Barnes starting next to Anzalone, or neither of them? Does anyone know?
I believe Rodriguez starting.
Because they just dropped the first depth chart for the first, but I don't think Rodriguez is starting. I think Derek Barnes.
He's not. It's Chris Board.
It is Chris Board, who's injured though, right?
Yeah.
But might be playing week 1.
Okay, yeah. And then Rodrigo
and Barnes are backups. So like Rodrigo, he got all his hype. He sent all his jersey. He ain't even starting. Like he doesn't have to be defensive rookie of the year. He just needs to fill gaps and fill holes when he needs to be, and he'll earn his way onto the field more and more. But I love that we are talking so much about Rodrigo. He's our third linebacker. I mean, hopefully that's a good thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's also a guy that, coming in, if there was no Hard Knocks, he would be, not necessarily unrecognizable, but now anywhere he goes, like he just said, he's getting people saying, what's up, buying him drinks, saying hello, all sorts of cool stuff. So it's little things like that will really get your confidence going. So I like it. I like it. Also, how could we can't go past this show without talking about the Slim Shady, yes sir, Eminem stopped by Lions training camp. Was pretty cool actually, and honestly, he was kind of funny. He made a couple jokes in there talking about how he, I'll be on the sideline every game. If you guys need me, I'll get in. I'll play any position, which I am pretty sure Eminem could not play any position. He'd probably be a solid kicker or snapper or something like that, or ball holder. But nonetheless, Eminem, it was cool seeing him there. So out of all these players, guys, with different faces that came to Lions training camp, Julius, which one was your favorite? And, talk a little about Eminem too.
Well, out of all the people that came to training camp, I like the comedian, Josh Adams.
Josh Adams, yeah.
I think Josh Adams, comedian from Detroit, he was funny. That was a funny skit that he did in the film room with those guys. And then Eminem, I mean, he is a funny dude. He really is a funny dude. And I can relate with his humor. He grew up like a couple blocks from where I did, so you just kind of see the Detroit, just blaring out at him. He was perfect for the show. And for him to root for the Lions and give them heads up like, hey, y'all, we strong this year. Let's have a good season. That means something coming from a rock and roll god. So rap god, I'm sorry, Eminem. But yeah, I mean, I was pretty pleased with that aspect.
Hey, you can call him a rock and roll god. He's just got inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So
I thought you said a Rocky Road guy, like the ice cream.
Hey, maybe M's a big Rocky Road guy. Not a bad ice cream. So you never know. Never know. Nick, any thoughts on Eminem and any of these guys that came on?
Stick with Julius. The what did we say his name was? Josh Woods?
Josh Adams.
I don't know why I think Josh Woods. Josh Adams, hilarious, freaking awesome. Eminem, hilarious, freaking awesome. Cocky, like unknowingly cocky, hilarious. Him and Aubrey Pleasant's handshake that lasted like 30 seconds was hilarious. Yeah. We've seen like Eminem in front of the camera, and he's always super stage fright, right? He's always like weird. He doesn't like to talk in front of cameras and stuff like that. Like that's just who he is. So I kind of expected this like shy, not really. He was just cracking jokes. Oh my gosh, when he was like, I wish I would have saw a little bit more about him and Jamal Williams. Like we just got a little what's up dab, but I wanted to see them like talk a little bit because I thought that would have been pretty funny. I love Eminem so much. I love him so much. So I'm just so happy that he represents Detroit so much more than like when it was like Eminem or Kid Rock were like the Detroit guys. I'm so happy that Kid Rock is just not a part of Detroit anymore, and we like disowned him, and it's just Eminem now. He's the best. He's so humble, funny, and we saw it, and I loved it. I love him.
Yeah, he is a funny guy too. And you make a good point, Nick, on how, in all his interviews, he's real, short to the point, not saying like a lot of words. And when we saw him on TV, he was, what's up, guys, cracking jokes. So is this the room where Aiden did his, Billie Jean shit? And he's like, man, that was funny. That was some funny stuff. And so, yeah, it was cool to see. And also, Brad Holmes, Lions, since I know you guys are listening, give Josh Adams another shot. Have him at the halftime show. I think Lions fans would absolutely love to see a little halftime show, a little 10 minutes, another little stand-up from Josh Adams. He was a funny dude. Definitely deserves another shot, especially with some of these other guys, too, like the juggler. It'd be cool to see him in there.
Yeah, you're losing me there. But Josh Adams at halftime, I don't need to see Khalil Pimpleton and some juggler doing some juggling act. But no, that you're so right. For 10 minutes, instead of like freaking Ray J as the halftime show or something, which was like a Pistons halftime show I went to. Or one time I went to the Lions versus the Patriots on Sunday night, and it was Lil Jon. Give me freaking a comedian for 10 minutes. That is hilarious, dude. That is a great idea. We are tweeting that out. We're going to get that ball rolling. Just like get ready forward down the field or whatever that is.
Tweet it at Ford Field, at Rodwood, at the Lions. Get that popping.
Yep.
I like it. And then, finally, to close out the show, they asked all the coaches. No, they not probably all the coaches, but they only showed a few. And it was the Lions will blank. And so Aaron Glenn asked him, he said, the Lions will compete every game. Love that. Calvin Shepard said the Lions will put the NFL on notice. Absolutely love that. Dan Campbell took the longest pause in the world and said the Lions will be the team that can and will, and then kept on going. But that was the main point. So out of all these three, which one, Nick, which one stood out the most? And then you tell me what the Lions will.
Definitely Dan Campbell. It was such a dramatic pause. Freaking HBO.
It was crazy.
HBO is loving the silence. We've seen it on every commercial for the Cardinals. We saw it again with old Kyler Murray walking out. Kyler Murray held the door for the camera guy. Respect that, by the way. Just that's a little nuance I noticed. But they love their silence and they love their dramatization through silence, through no words, through just picture. And damn it, they did a great job with old Dan Campbell. They can and they will. My God. Yes, we will. We will. To answer the question myself, the 2022 Detroit Lions will. That is such a hard question. I honestly thought about it last night. I tweeted it out and got a bunch of responses, never responded to myself because I don't know if I have a good answer for that. I try to think of a good answer and I can't come up with one. So here's what I'll say. The 2022 Detroit Lions will win the NFC North.
Oh, I like it. Hot take here.
Where's the siren? Where is the siren?
Hot. Where's the siren? That's spicy, but I believe in it.
It's a great one.
I like it. Julius, Lions will what?
First of all, Dan Campbell, that pause, I felt it. Because silence speaks loudly, especially when it's fixated so close. You can see the words going through his head, by his facial expressions, and it was just so dramatic. I mean, shout out to HBO. They do a great job. They do an amazing job. The 2002 Detroit Lions will. That is hard.
It's so hard. We probably should have done this before the show.
Because to answer that question, you must have faith or trust in some sort of thing. And this is the Detroit Lions we're talking about. And I'm not expecting them to win a Super Bowl or nothing. But we all know what direction is up and what direction is down. And the 2002 Detroit Lions will go up. They will go in the up direction.
I like it.
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah, and for me, yes, to talk about the Dan Campbell pause. Oh my gosh, I was watching, and I'm sure we've all seen our fair share of pauses, anticipation. Like, come on, like say it, we're waiting. But this one, oh my goodness, this one was probably the longest pause that I can think of off the top of my head, or within 5 minutes. So Dan Campbell just what is he gonna say? What is he gonna say? What is he gonna say? You could just tell he's thinking real hard. And a lot. Nick, were you thinking at all is he gonna say bite kneecaps off? He's gonna go the goofy hard route, or is he gonna actually say something truly meaningful?
This little bug is flying all
I know,
around.
I can see it.
Oh my gosh, he's on my FaceTime. Freaking bug, share the screen, dude. Come on, bug. Johnny. Wait, what was the question? This damn bug got all of my.
So, all right, Dan Campbell, when he's talking or not talking, when he's pausing, were you expecting, a goofy response or a, straight cut forward response?
I was waiting for him to say something about a Super Bowl. I really, really, really was. That's what I was thinking. I guess I was thinking it wasn't gonna be goofy. It was gonna be heartfelt because you tell that's what he was thinking, how he's talking. But I thought I was waiting for a Super Bowl mention. We didn't get it, but
I think that was one of his thoughts. I think he thought 100 different things.
Right.
Went through every single one of them, like Doctor Strange analyzing, the perfect scenario.
Yep.
And then he finally said the Lions can and will. So I like it.
Yeah.
For me, the Detroit Lions will represent So we're going to represent not just Detroit, but the Detroit Lions and the city and the fans. I think we're going to, despite what we do at the end of the year, Lost Lions fans are going to be hanging our heads high, proud of our boys, going to the next season, happy and excited, not, same old, same old. Another Lions season in the books. But boys, let's dive into week 1, Lions versus Eagles. It's going to be a great one. Like I just mentioned earlier in this podcast, it's sold out. First time there's only standing room only being offered since 2019. The Lions
2017.
were 2017. We're a 4-point dog as of now. So Nick, do the Lions cover? And what is, I guess, your biggest concern for this game?
Yes, the Lions cover. My biggest concern, there's a couple of them. Okay. I'm obviously very concerned of our defense. Last time we played the Eagles, they rushed all over us. And I'm a little nervous of that again because I didn't like the way that our starting defense tried to tackle Tyler Algier and Quadre Olison from the damn Atlanta Falcons. And I haven't gotten over that. I don't care if that was week 1 preseason. I haven't gotten over that. So I'm nervous about that. Do I think we can stop it? Yes. I think we can fill holes. I think we can. We got Anzalone playing. Like, we'll be all right. But that has me nervous. Also, our linebackers have to, I think Amani is going to keep up with AJ. That's going to be kind of a shutdown over there. Okuda has to keep up with Devonta Smith. And our linebackers have to keep up with Dallas Goedert. I think we'll do a good job containing Jalen Hurts. But if that passing game does get going to Dallas Goedert on 3rd down, to Devonta Smith on 2nd down, then that running game is going to obliterate us. I'm very afraid of. So that's my biggest concern is my defense. I think our offense can compete with their defense, even though they've done a lot to for a resurgence on their defense. Adding James Bradbury, Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean. They have a lot of good players on that defense. But I still think Goff and our offense can handle them. I think our offense line is terrific. I'm nervous the most. I don't know why it's such a long answer, but I'm going to ultimately answer it right now. Nervous about our defense, nervous about Dallas Goedert, Devonta Smith, and the running game.
Yeah, I agree. The running game is probably the most, thing to watch out for just based off of what happened last year in which we saw, Boston Scott and Miles Sanders. And I think even Jalen Hurts, rush for at least 1 to 2 touchdowns each. So hopefully, Dan Campbell is making this, a thing that we are, paid attention to, not just the week before the Eagles game, but multiple weeks before. So hopefully we've been working on this game for quite some time, and it's not just your typical 1 week prep because, we did get our asses handed to us last year, and the Eagles probably upgraded the most out of not just any team in the NFC, probably any team in the NFL. They added guys like James Bradbury, like you mentioned. They added recently CJ Gardner-Johnson, a phenomenal strong safety, or nickel cornerback. They still have guys like Darius Slay and Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham. They also brought in dudes like Hassan Reddick and then drafted guys like Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean. So a lot of talent on this defense. And honestly, I think this is going to be a monster test for our offensive line. It kind of sucks that it seemed like we were, taking control or I guess handling all these injuries and non-injuries perfectly. And then all of a sudden, Big V thrown on IR. And we're having Tommy Kramer back injuries and now Ragnow hamstring injuries. It's like, oh, what is going on? We're, 5-6 days out of our first game. And now these guys are starting to get banged up against, a super good defensive line in the Eagles. So if we can hold our own, we're going to see Frank Ragnow go against Jordan Davis. I think that's going to be an awesome, just nose tackle to, center matchup. Not sure, how much Jordan Davis will play because he's listed as the backup behind Fletcher Cox, but that dude is a big dude. And even if, Ragnow's going against Fletcher Cox, he's another all-pro type player. So Julius, I'm with you, Nick. I think the Lions are going to cover this. I think we're going to think it's gonna be a close game. I do think we win. I'll save.
Let's hold off on
the
predictions.
very end. I know.
Calm down. You're jumping the gun, Adam. You're jumping the gun.
But I do think we cover in a tough, nitty-gritty one. So, Julius, what say you?
So there are a lot of things that concern me, right? And I'm sure it concerns a lot of fans. Number one, they blew us out last year. So, and a big reason why was the running game. They just controlled us. And I'm a little worried about some things I saw in the preseason. But, you and Nick, you mentioned Anzalone. Honestly, Anzalone don't really give me a lot of confidence. There are times last season when I was like, why is this guy even a starter? He had some good games. He had some bad games. We need Malcolm Rodriguez or Derek Barnes to have a great game in their first game. Not in their first game, but in week one, we need one of those or both of those guys to play great in that linebacker rotation. I think our secondary can hold up decently well, but we need some sort of pass rush on Jalen Hurts. When on play action, we need to be able to contain and we need to be able to pressure him, make him uncomfortable. We can't get him comfortable moving around and whatever. With the play action is going to destroy us if we can't stop the run. That's why I allude back to our linebackers. Offensively, they got a good defense on paper, but I want to see it. I want to see it together the same way I want to see Detroit's defense together. I think there's some things we can exploit. I think our offensive line can, do some things. We can kind of have the same kind of threat going against Philly if we get a run game established early, which I'm sure is in the game plan with Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift. Get the play action going. Hockenson, Amon-Ra St. Brown underneath. Be creative. You can score points on them. Take field goals even, but don't be punting the ball 3-4 drives in a row. We're gonna get blown out again. I'm worried about some things, but I'm hopeful about some things, and I feel like I'm relying on hope too much. You know what I'm saying? So I'm about ready to predict the L, but I am hopeful for a W. I'll get to my prediction, but that's pretty much where I stand on concerns.
Yeah, let's talk about how we will win the game. You know what I mean?
All right. My keys to win the game. I think, obviously, I want to see Hutchinson apply pressure to Hurts, keep him contained and in the pocket. Don't allow him to scramble outside and, get around. That's one thing I'm super excited to see Hutchinson do. I think we are going to see at least one time either a running back or Jalen Hurts think, I'm faster. I got the edge. And Hutchinson he might not get the edge, but he's going to chase you down and make sure you don't get that breakaway run. So Hutch, I can't wait to see that. I think we're going to see some plays that are going to be reminiscent of Ezekiel Ansah, in which he was just this big freak right end that could chase down anyone. So I think we're going to see a couple times Hutch chasing down some running backs that, break away, because that's, I feel like, what the Lions love to do best.
I think but yeah, some other huge breakout game. 3 sacks.
I love
sacks. That's what I have a feeling. All right. And he's going to show the world really quick that why I predicted him to be Defensive Rookie of the Year.
I like it. Yeah, he's moved up on Defensive Rookie of the Year odds. He started at plus 600. He's up to plus 480. Part of that is due to the Kayvon Thibodeau, minor injury that could keep him out 1 to 2 weeks. But other than that, Hutchinson has just been performing well himself. Is as of now the favorite to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. So, Nick, what are your keys to victory?
My keys to victory are. I'm gonna sneeze.
That's the one.
Sorry.
There you go.
Excuse me, on air. Wait, what did
bless you.
What
the
did
keys
the
to victory
do? What the guy from the Jets do? He's like, bless me.
Bless me, yeah.
He blessed himself and thanked himself. The greatest sneeze on air of all time. All right. Keys to victory. You have to be able to run this football. Darius Slay is going to shut down DJ Shark. That's just about to happen. James Bradbury is going to be pretty dang good against whoever we put at like that number 2 spot. I don't know if it's going to be Amon-Ra, probably will be, and Amon-Ra can beat him, but it's just going to be tough. I mean, we're going to have to win this game on the ground. I believe the Eagles are also going to try to run the ball, as I was just saying, which means it's going to be a battle of who can run it the best. And we have to win this. So our key to its success is an impactful running game. Second key to success is Dan Campbell needs to continue what he did last year, right? He went for it a record amount of times on fourth down. You need to continue to be gutsy and gritty. That's how we're going to win this game. Lastly, it's going to come down to stopping A.J. Brown, but most importantly, Okudah versus Devonta Smith. I am telling you, it's why I'm nervous, but it's a key to victory. It is a way to win this game. If Okudah plays so well that Devonta Smith is shut down to 3 catches for 25 yards, and Amani allows AJ 6 catches for 60 yards, we have such a good chance of winning this game. Our cornerbacks need to be aggressive and amazing. So those are my keys to success. Corners, running the win, and being
I like
gutsy.
it. Yeah, I agree too. That Devonta Smith versus Jeff Okudah battle, that's going to be a good one. And this is, Devonta Smith, a great route runner, a dude that, isn't going to be able to physically bully Okudah and take advantage of, maybe
Okudah should physically handle Devonta. Okudah's a strong dude,
It'll be a good matchup. So yeah, if Okudah can handle him, that will be first, big check off of the box. But yeah, Nick, you hit the nail right on the head. I also think Amani-O on A.J. Brown, he's got to contain him. No monster plays, no 50-yard touchdowns, no, 40-yard touchdowns, something like that. If we could keep that in check, then Lions should be good. But ultimately, week 1, this is a huge test for us. And if the Lions, Julius, since you're probably the Mr. Kool-Aid on the Lions Honolulu Blues podcast, if we win week 1, if we just kind of handle the Eagles week 1, what do you expect for the rest of the season? Are you kind of locking in a playoff appearance or competing for a playoff appearance or what?
It's still too early in week 1 to know, what kind of issues Philadelphia or deficiencies Philadelphia may have or may not have. So, we could say we win a close game against them, that's not to say you just got to analyze the game. Looking at everything from where it is now, everybody expects Philadelphia. They're the favorite to win the East along with Dallas pretty much. It's like 50-50. But everybody, loves their defense, loves their offensive line. They're hopeful about Hurts and the weapons he has. But, I believe that the Lions, that they're beatable. It's not like last year when we got blown out. I feel like this is different. This is a different team. This is a different roster. This is the next season. So I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful about DeAndre Swift, particularly having a big game. TJ Hockenson also particularly can have a big game. And we just got to see it on the field. I'm not worried about last year.
Real quick, I'm going to take a little side tangent. You mentioned T.J. Hockenson, Julius. And why I'm bringing up T.J. Hockenson is because Dawson Knox just got a big old contract, a 4-year extension, $72 million, $53 million guaranteed. I think he's getting $15.3 million annually, making him a top 5 paid tight end, pretty much guaranteeing T.J. Hockenson, the ability to ask for top 5 money. So, Nick, I'm going to shoot this question at you. Looking at this Dawson Knox contract, are you starting to grow concerned that we might have to let T.J. Hockenson go?
No, I'm not concerned about letting him go. I do think we'll have to let him go. I think he is the 3rd most expendable starter on our roster. I think DJ Shark and Big V are the only 2 starters on our roster that I wouldn't mind losing more than I wouldn't mind losing TJ Hockenson. I would rather lose TJ Hockenson than Jonah Jackson, DeAndre Swift, Penei Sewell, Taylor Decker, Frank Ragnow, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams. Jared Goff is like right there, but realistically, I mean, right now, I think we would win a lot more games keeping Jared Goff than keeping TJ Hawkinson. Hawkinson hasn't ever really proved to me that he's elite. We drafted him to be elite, but that was from a really bad regime. We should have never drafted him at 8. I never thought he had the speed to be George Kittle. He's a really good pass blocker, and he's a good pass catcher. But TJ Hawkinson is not it. He will never be a top 5 tight end in the NFL. It's just not who he is right now. Yo, shout out. Oh, yeah. But TJ Hawkinson, no, I don't really care if we get him. I hope we don't have to resign him. I'm definitely not giving him that money.
Yeah, I agree. And I think this was kind of like the nail in
Go
the coffin.
Lions.
Yes,
Go
sir. Go
Lions!
Lions, baby. We got a prediction, Julius? He's got a prediction for week 1?
He gone.
Nah, he gone.
There you go. All right. Back to Hawkinson. Yeah, I agree, Nick. This was kind of like a nail in the coffin situation where it was like, yeah, he gone, you know. So
He gone.
and hopefully Hawkinson gives us, a great season, but hopefully it's not too, good of a season to, make Dan Campbell think I'm a tight end. Should I help out my fellow tight end out?
If Hawkinson catches 1,200 yards or plays amazing, then I'm okay with paying him.
And there are routes where I would be okay paying him that top 5 money just because we see the raw talent in him. It's just like we need to see it unlocked for like 15 games. We've only seen it unlocked for like 2 to 3 games all season. So either or. I won't be disappointed, but if we do pay up for Hawk having, not a great year, if it's just mediocre to good, then I would kind of be a little disappointed. Julius, any thoughts on the Hawk situation and just Dawson Knox getting a big old contract?
I'm just really thinking of it as, TJ Hawkinson has to perform for me to be comfortable with a max contract. Like, I'm talking a Pro Bowl season, 1,300 yards, closer to double-digit TDs than not. He has to be one of the reasons why we had a successful season. I'm not going to say what that successful season is, but whatever it is, he must be one of the reasons why for me to be comfortable with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell shelling out that amount of cap space for a tight end.
100%. And hopefully it's not a tough pill to swallow at the end of the year. Hopefully all Lions fans, come to conclusion and agree, but that's usually never the case. So we'll see what happens with TJ Hawkinson. But boys, you ready to give some final week 1 predictions?
Woo! First predictions of the year. I can't wait.
I love it. Nick, I know you teased yours on Twitter. Was that the actual prediction or was that just, a little hype action?
Oh, it sure was the actual prediction. I'm going to recite that tweet right now for everyone.
I like it.
Last year, the Lions Philly went to Detroit, but went into the game against Philadelphia 0-7. We lost 44-6, fell to 0-8, and it was the Detroit Lions and Dan Campbell's rock bottom. From there, we took a bye week, finished the season 3-5-1, almost 4-5 if our kicker knew how to kick in the rain. That's a great way to finish out a season. We have 6 new starters from when we played them last. We have 6 new starters on offense, and we also have 6 new starters on defense. That is a total of 12 out of 24 players. Last year when we played them, our starting wide receivers were Tom Kennedy and Khalif Raymond. It will be a lot different this year for Darius Slay guarding DJ Shark and Amon-Ra St. Brown. This is Dan Campbell, not anyone else. This is Dan Campbell's. That's my phone. This is Dan Campbell's revenge game. Like, this is his revenge game. He saw the ass whooping that we got, the biggest ass whooping Dan Campbell has ever seen in the NFL, player or coach. The most points he's ever lost by was that game. He is out for blood. And we are going to win this game 27-20 in Detroit.
Whew, I like it. Nick, you make a great point. Last year, we did have legit guys like Tom Kennedy playing in the game, Kadero Hodge playing in the game, Jamar Jefferson getting 4 receptions for 23 yards. So Hockenson was our main dude on offense, had 10 catches, 89 yards, 11 targets. I think we do need to get Hockenson involved again. But yeah, you said it perfectly. We can't let Goddard, take over this game. He had 6 catches, 72 yards. And granted, it was really the rushing game that dominated us. But all in all, I like the 27-20 pick, Dick. I think Lions are going to go a little bit back and forth with the Eagles all game. I think, we're going to have that last laugh on Darius Slay. I want to see either whoever he's lined up against, if it's Chark, Amon-Ra, if it happens to be Josh Reynolds, I don't care. I want to see him take it to our boy Slay, our old boy at least, and make the game-winning touchdown. So do something cool and not have, Darius Slay score the same amount of points as Detroit Lions, in which that happened last year. So for me, I am going to go 28-24 Lions. I think that spread should have been on the Eagles side, not the Lions side. So 2024 final prediction. Julius, what say you?
Take us home.
This is a revenge game, okay? And this is a big one. This is a sellout game at Ford Field. Standing room only. First time in 5 years. They have to deliver on this energy that's in here. And I believe they can from a talent standpoint. They just have to, if it's a close game, like these close games from last year when we were 2-6-1 in these games. If I've got a feeling this is going to be one of those games. I'm not a big believer in Jalen Hurts, and I got to see it to believe it in Philly. I believe the Lions can win this game, 30-27.
I like it.
I got them all written down, so we'll be pulling up receipts next week.
Detroit Lions, fool me once, but I got y'all winning 13 games on my preseason prediction. Goddamn it! But fool me once, if y'all get blown out in week 1, I will renege on everything and admit I was in a haze of stupidity. But guess what? I am an optimistic character, so go Lions.
Go Lions.
Love it, Julius. 13-3. That's 13-4. That's what we'd like to see. But hey, if you guys are going to be heading down to Ford Field on Sunday, I'll be there as well. So give the Honolulu Blues a tweet, and maybe you'll see me. If you do see me, say hello as well. I'll be with our number 1 fan as well, my mother, of course. So yeah, it'll be a great time. Going to be getting down there early. And yes, I hate to say it, Lions fans, but I'm a bit of a Jalen Hurts fan. I'm a big fanboy for my running quarterback. So yes, I'll be trying to get my Jalen Hurts autograph down there. But don't be worried. Once that game starts, I'm all for Hurts going down and Lions, winning. So all in all, you guys can check us out at the Honolulu Blues _ on Twitter. That's Honolulu Blues _ spelled how it sounds. You can check us out individually at Everyday FFB, myself. You can check out Nick at Nick Faber NFL. And then you can check out Julius at the 5th Top. As always, if you guys are watching YouTube, give us a subscribe. If you're on, iTunes podcast, Spotify, give us a subscribe as well. Go Blue, baby. Number 4 in the nation. Yes, sir. Love it, Julius. As always, boys and girls, we will see you all next week. Go Lions.
Go Lions.
Hopefully.